to Simply Felicity, everyone. I hope you are ready to enjoy your lunch hour with me, that you've got yourself coffee or tea, something to enjoy because we have Conscious Entrepreneurs Mindset Coach back with us right before Thanksgiving. We're so thankful. Thank you for being here with me again, Jerica Glasper. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a joy to be with you, ma'am, and to do these talks and to empower the people. So, thank you again for having me on. I'm excited.
Yes, today's topic is perfect for this month of Thanksgiving and season of gratitude that we're in. It can also be a stressful season as people are maybe hoping not to overspend this year or,
Yes.
just concerned about the different gift giving things. And so we want to shift that energy right away by talking about abundance.
Yes.
And I was so glad you proposed this topic. I just think it is perfect. And you have a lot to share with us. You shared with me a video, someone I had not heard of, Catherine Ponder. Is she a
Yes.
contemporary of Neville Goddard? If you guys have seen our little series, we like to talk about the work of Neville Goddard. Is she a contemporary of his, or how did you run across Catherine Ponder?
She's a female that is up there with Neville Goddard. She talks about prosperity consciousness as well. Excuse me. She talks about prosperity consciousness as well. She's a more of on the Unity Church, more of like the spiritual metaphysician type of minister is what she
Hmm.
is. So she's written a lot of books on prosperity. She does a lot of talks on prosperity when she was around, and so her work lives on, and it's great. I discovered it this year, and I'm like, what? So
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's how I felt not having heard of her. I definitely want to encourage you guys, put her name into the search box in YouTube. One of the things right off the bat with the video you shared with me, I thought it was so encouraging that she said, I started out my journey with me and my husband in a one-room apartment. And I think it is just so important that people share that because
mhm.
whenever when I was in a season of lack, it's I don't know where you think you can start from, but
Mhm.
no one wants to start from where they are. They like airlift me out of this, into something else, but it starts, right there in the
Mhm.
moment of what you've created up to that point,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely.
And so it was just really cool to know, hey, the things I'm teaching you right now, they worked for me back in that place where, of course, I had no idea whether I'd get out of it or not. So that was really a powerful part of her story.
Yes. Yes. And it's funny because she said, I wasn't rich when I started talking about prosperity. She's like, I wanted to talk about it because it was something I needed. I needed to
Wow.
transform my money mindset and my money consciousness and really, understand that I'm abundant, my abundance is my birthright. And, um, expansiveness is all around. It really is. And to be aware of that in our consciousness.
That's really where it starts for each of us. It starts with a decision to change. And, you may feel like, what do I want to say, an imposter, starting to talk about those things if that's what you need. But I love that that's what brought her out like that. That was awesome. And so she talked there about writing down. She started with writing down her abundance vision, basically saying,
Yes.
if I want the universe and to be serious about my dreams, like I have to get serious about it. Right.
Yes.
And so she began to put it out there.
Yes,
What
yes,
were
and I
some
love that.
other things that you've learned from her?
I love basically that's one of the main things because in the law of attraction industry, in the spiritual, enlightened individuals, there's a lot of talk about writing things down and visualizing and scripting. Scripting is just writing things down as if they've already happened. And that goes into, some of the things in the Bible. I don't have the particular scripture here, but I wrote down, write the vision and make it plain. There's all types of things in the Bible that talk about really claiming what you want for yourself, and she's just bringing that out in her talks. And writing it down is big, because I remember when I wrote down that I wanted to live somewhere tropical, that I was surrounded by beautiful greenery and palm trees, and I wrote this in 2015. And then in
Okay.
2018, I got a promotion for my job and moved to Florida. But
Wow.
3 years before, when I wrote down, I said, my life is so exciting. It's ideal. It's perfect. It's perfectly how I want it. I'm living around palm trees and greenery. And like, I'm writing this, but I'm living in Texas. At the time, I was living in a transitional housing apartment for domestic violence survivors. And so I
Wow.
was working part time, probably making $9.50 an hour. Like, I didn't know where the money was going to come from. I didn't know how I was going to get to Florida. I didn't even say I wanted to be in Florida. I just said I'm surrounded by beautiful greenery and palm trees. And 3 years later, I got promoted, made the most money I've ever made in my career. They moved me out to Florida. And then I remember, like, wrote this down literally 3 years ago. And so
Wow.
writing things down is powerful, definitely, for manifesting the things that we want.
Yeah, and that's Habakkuk 2 too, right? To write the vision and make it plain. So, we can do that. We can write it down. We can begin to have that picture in our mind. But you told me that you've identified 7 mindsets that can kind of stand between us and that paper. I
Yes,
think
yes,
they really begin to pop up as the things that we are going to need to overcome, and why we haven't manifested that yet, right?
yes,
Part of it is the definition, but part of it is because of what we've been thinking and what we've brought to the table thus far. So,
yes.
I so appreciate you taking us through these mindsets. I think they're going to be very eye opening and revealing for all of us to just be able to look within. If we are ready to take responsibility for the state of our lives and say, okay, I've created where I'm at, right? And man, you know, thinking of your story, I created the transitional housing, like I created this part of my story.
Yeah.
Um, so those, it's not, it takes a warrior to be willing to say that.
Yeah, the good and the messy part, and the in betweens, and the
Yes.
places where we just are.
Right.
That
Right.
it's all us.
Awesome. So yeah, so let's start the identification. What's the first one on, and how do you call it? Like lack mindsets, you said, or
Yeah, I mean, there's different names that you'll see, but it's just having a scarcity consciousness,
scarcity.
or a lack consciousness, that there's not enough and that you're not enough, and how to break free from that. So that there's more self love, there's more self worth, there's more self confidence, there's more income and financial freedom. What do we need to do to break out of those scarcity mindset traps? Before we dive into that, though, I wanted to talk to you and ask you, and then I'll share, like, what does abundance and prosperity mean to you? Like, what comes to mind as a meaning or a definition?
So I would say more than enough, always comes to mind. Um, on Sunday, I basically woke up with this word that came to me: nourished.
I like that.
You are nourished. And I
Yes.
was just like, wow,
Yes.
and I began to like think that in every area of life. Like I was like, I'm nourished. I think last time we talked about, there's things we put out there, but there's times something come to us. And those times, those special times where something comes to us, like it's just so precious and it's important to hold on to. So there were some certain situations that happened, with there was something with my husband. I was not feeling very nourished,
Mm,
but I was like, I'm nourished. I'm nourished. I have what I need. And I am so thankful that I remembered at that moment later in the day, because it prevented a misunderstanding and a miscommunication that could have, become an argument. And
right.
I would have had also all those hurt feelings from that moment until the miscommunication was handled, or was cleared up. I would have sown all of those hurt feelings,
Mm,
into my future.
yeah.
And so, because man, the more you understand this stuff, just because you get over something, well, I feel this way now, but I'll get over it. Yeah, you also projected it, like you also just prophesied it. So,
Yeah.
anyway, I understanding abundance, um, in more cases than that, prevents me from sowing a lot of things I don't want into
Mm,
my future. Like when, as I begin to look at, when I look at things being scarce or feeling scarce, um, I really find it's not true,
mm,
but
yeah.
I just projected it.
Yeah.
And then I begin to experience that scarcity and lack when it didn't, like in reality, it's not really true.
Mm.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was a,
I
was
love it. I
a,
love
okay,
it.
good.
Thank you. Thank you. What prosperity and abundance means to me, similar
Yeah.
to what you said, is more than enough. And what I've identified over the years is what it personally means to me is abundance and prosperity. When you strip away everything, is the breath.
Oh,
I
wow.
am simply abundant and prosperous and blessed because of my breath. And then everything else is a bonus. You know what I mean? It's like, I have my breath. I'm freaking abundant. I'm freaking prosperous because I have my breath. And then
Wow.
also that prosperity and abundance is the flow of life is circulation, it's movement, it's expansion. And
Mm.
so I have trillions of cells that are expanding and growing. I'm abundant because my cells are abundant. I'm abundant because I'm surrounded by grass in my backyard that I can't even count. That's expansive and abundant. So I look at things that are in multitude, and I also look at things that
Mm.
are a blessing, which is the breath. And then it's like, okay, now that I know my birthright is abundance, abundance is expansiveness, it's circulation, things that leave my life and come back into my life. I always have that. We always have that in the world. I use that as my foundation. So I'm not looking for material things to say, I'm abundant or prosperous because I have this, or I have the red bottoms, or I have the. No. Ooh, I got breath. I'm abundant. That's
It
it.
is so deep. I'm just like, I'm flipping over here because it's deep, it's true. Like that goes to the heart of what I was saying. It's never true. No matter what, manifests, it's never actually true. And you just proved it. That's why it's
Yes.
not true.
Yeah.
Because we have the breath of life that we didn't even ask for. And most of the time, we're not even intentional in partaking.
It's
It's
just
an
there.
involuntary response that we have, and it's just it's all around, like it's ever present. That was really
Yeah.
powerful. I love starting with that. Like I
Yes.
said, I wanted to take this time at this season to strip away those things that aren't true, and we don't want to get into the caught into the trap of debt, and having to do all of these things to serve some season. That's not
Mm.
what we desire it to be about.
Yeah.
And so to strip it back all the way to the most basic, the breath,
Mhm.
oh girl, I'm like happy already. All right.
Yes, the breath. The breath is abundant.
Wow.
Yes. And then what I wanted to share, um, I know it's so cliche, but really the gratitude. I remember when I was living in this transitional housing apartment, the couch was hand me down. The clothes were, I used to get vouchers to go to the thrift store and buy clothes for me and my son. He was probably 2 years old at this time. So this was like 8 years ago. Um, we were living there. The dishes were hand me down. I mean, it was handed down. There's nothing new. It was in a okay neighborhood, but I felt from where I came from to where I had to be brought down and humble myself and
Mm.
take the help. I was complaining to, I remember walking around complaining to God, like, why would you do this to me? Why am I here? Why am I living this life? And upset. I mean, upset. My son was gone, and I was just like, God, why? Like, why me? Why now? And he just said one word, and he said gratitude. And I'm
Mm.
like, gratitude,
Nah,
gratitude. So I looked
I
around. I'm
guess
like,
the
there's
opposite
no
direction
gratitude
you were
here.
going to.
And so I ended up walking, and I said, okay, I'm gonna be obedient. So I walked around and said, okay, I'm thankful for that couch. And I went to my closet and I had like half the clothes that I took when I left this situation, and then half the clothes were like from the thrift store. And I was like, I'm thankful for these clothes. And then I went to my son's room, like, oh, I'm thankful for those toys. The toys were handed down. I'm thankful for those toys. I'm thankful for the bed. I'm thankful. And then I just started thanking him for everything in the house and looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I'm thankful. I'm thankful. And then I'm crying and I'm like worshiping
Aw.
now because I'm like, oh my God, I'm so thankful. I'm crying. And he gave me this vision. In this vision that I had, I'm like laid at this point, I'm just like laid out on the floor. Like I'm like face down on the floor, crying and just thanking God and
Mm.
just, in praise and worship. And he gave me this vision, and in this vision I walk over to one of my friends and she's kind of like knelt down and she's kind of sat and I'm standing over her and I say something inaudible to her and she lifts her head up and she's smiling now and she stands up and this tree, like this holographic tree, sprouts from her head and it has these beautiful fruit, like these red and yellow peaches or apples are on this tree. And so then she walks over to another woman in this vision, and this woman is kind of down, and you can tell she's just like depressed. And so when she's speaking to this woman, her fruit falls on the woman, and then the woman grows a tree. And then
Wow.
she has the fruit, and then she turns to another woman, and she turns, and before I know it, it's just like all these women are walking up to other women, and this fruit is falling from their tree onto the other woman. She's growing a tree, and before I knew it, like the vision just turned into like I'm standing on a hill and I don't see people anymore. I just see a massive forest, like hills and hills of trees and forests. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I had this vivid vision. I called my dad. I'm like, Dad, I just had this vision. I was like, it was so beautiful. I was in this powerful prayer meditation moment with God, and he showed me this vision. I said, I have to call my friend. My friend needs to know the word from God that I have from her, that she's going to touch so many lives because this tree grew from her head and she talked to this. And I'm like talking, Dad, you ain't saying nothing, Dad. And he's quiet on the other line. And he's like, Jerica, you were the fruit that fell on
Right.
your friend.
Right.
He said, you were the fruit that fell on your friend. And then you caught. And so that's a message for all of us, really, that sometimes we look at a seed and we say, this is little, this is insignificant. Sometimes we look at our life or our current situation, like, this is little, this is insignificant. But how many things come from a seed? How many more seeds are produced from that? And so I always go back to that vision because I
Mm.
had that vision when I had nothing. I had nothing material really in my life outside of the breath and the health of me and my son. And that was the word, was gratitude, and that you just never know how you can be a blessing to someone else
Mm.
just by the fruit of your words, the fruit of your tongue, your actions, your
I was
body
thinking, like,
crossing fingers.
that's your business. Like, you had a vision of your business and touching these women. That's so cool.
Yes, and just life in general, and it's
Yes.
everyone's vision. It's everyone's gift to hold on to. Yes, but that was gratitude. I learned so much in that moment about being
Mm.
thankful.
It's so powerful. It's all cliche until it happens to you.
Yes, do
It
it, guys.
it
Fill up
really
the
that's
page of everything you're thankful for.
yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's so, so good.
Mhm.
And that certainly is something that can help, like say, get from the page of what you've written down to where you're going is gratitude. Every moment, every day,
Mm,
something to be grateful for, many,
yeah.
many page worth of things.
Yes.
So awesome. So where then do these scarcity mindsets really come to play? Like how do they rob us of that?
Yes. Well, let's get into that. So we're
Okay.
I'm going to share with you all. If you're watching, grab your pen and paper. Okay, you're going to want to take notes on this. You're going to want to revisit this, re-listen to this, share this with people so that they can get this down. But I'm going to share 7 scarcity mindset traps and how to break free from those, so that you can step into your abundance and prosperity consciousness on autopilot. Like let it just operate in your life. And so the number one thing, the scarcity mindset trap number one, is that sometimes our scarcity stories, our scarcity story origin, basically your money story is messed up because of what we saw, what we heard, what we experienced growing up with money. And so we need to really ask ourselves, when and where did this money belief come from? Was it mom? Was it dad, grandparents? And how has it impacted my life seeing these money patterns? And is this something that's serving me? And if it's not, then it's time to do the work to let those beliefs go. Right? Money doesn't
Mm,
grow on trees. Or here's a big one, that it's noble and virtuous to be in poverty.
mm,
No.
mm-hmm.
Mother
Yes,
Teresa and Gandhi, although they had minimalist lives, they were millionaires. They were rich. And
that's
so,
right.
for me, I can only speak on my experience. I used to believe that it was noble to have a little and be meager and be in poverty. It's just but it's okay to be wealthy and still be a blessed, spiritual person. And so that's something that, you have to look at. Have I seen growing up that it's better to be in poverty? And that's kind of the message that I've gotten from maybe religion or for parents, grandparents. Is money evil? Are people with money evil? You have to start looking at where some of these story origins coming from and say, is this mine? Or is it somebody else's that I've
Yeah,
taken on?
that's so good. I also think there are times that parents get really weird about their children receiving things,
Mm,
and that is like a type of a false humility that they project as well. And so if you've, been encouraged not to receive, don't let so and so give you
mm,
this, or,
mm.
make sure you don't take that, or I don't know if
Oh,
you've
that's
ever tried to give anything to someone's child, just small, or even
yeah.
like not a big deal, but you can get parents be like, no, and then your
Yeah.
receiver gets broken, your
Yeah.
receiver gets messed up. I mean, there's
Yes.
no abundance if you can't receive.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
That is a good
So,
one.
yeah, so I've seen that manifest. Very good one to start with. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
our origin money stories.
Yeah, yes. Our let's see what it's called. The story origin. Yes, your
Hmm.
money stories growing up. So the second one, the second scarcity mindset trap number two is having the savior complex, and so it's having poor boundaries around your money. And Gabby Bernstein, who's the author of The Universe Has Your Back, says that by saving people, you are robbing them of their experience with transformation. And
Mm,
so that could be another trap of scarcity, that you play savior. You may loan out money or time or things, and your boundaries aren't all the way in place and it's okay to do things for people if you're doing it from an overflow and you're not going to feel constricted or I gave them $10 and they didn't, like, if you can give it and just be like, hey, it's gone. If I don't get it back, it's okay. I want it back. And it seems like the more that, when people are slow to pay you back or they don't pay you back at all, how does that make you feel? And then you begin it operating from a place of, oh, I want to help. And now you're resentful, you're angry, you're stressed, you have these thoughts and beliefs about people. So number two, that poverty trap can be that you're giving things away and you maybe wanted to say no and you didn't. So having stronger boundaries around yourself, your time, your money, your resources will definitely help you expand your own abundance and prosperity consciousness, and do it from a place of love, and know that, hey, if I don't get it back, it's okay. But if you start having resentment, that same blessing, that same generosity you put out there is going to boomerang back when you have
Yeah.
this resentment, and now you're in a place, you were up here, now you're down here.
And they go ahead and put it on people like they're the reason I'm resentful. But the fact that you had it within you to be resentful shows that the boundaries were poor around that. I
Mm.
mean, I think that's totally biblical. I think I don't not sure if it's Proverbs, but neither a borrower nor a lender be. And so we're not, we're encouraged not to do that. I was at a seminar where, hundreds of people in the room, and they said, who here has not had a friendship ruined by money, by this
Mm.
borrowing money? I think one person raised their hand.
Mhm.
He's like, we don't need to talk about that anymore, do we?
No,
Because
no. Set those
even,
boundaries.
that story coming back up in you, it'll teach you real good. I mean, you can put that on that person and say, no, they're the reason. No, look around you. It's within that system. Something is messed up, right? And so, if you can't give it, probably better not to. There are a few circumstances, but in a lot of cases, you really create a big risk
Yes,
there.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
so you're affirming through your emotions that that
Mm.
person has created some type of lack or scarcity for you. And
Mm.
so, law of attraction, or really, this just a spiritual principle that if this is what you're putting out is resentment, and oh, there's something they took from me that I'm lacking, you start to get more of that in your life. So you're like,
Wow.
dang, I loaned out this money, and now it's like all the stuff is going wrong in my life. Why? And you got to check
Wow.
that and see where those real subconscious beliefs and emotions are coming from. And when you act as people's money savior, then you're sacrificing yourself depending on how you're giving. Because sometimes I just cash out my sister's money, or like I'll just send money, like, oh, I just want to give it. But if I'm asked and I'm like, I got it and I don't want to give it, but I'm gonna give it, and then like you got to check that.
It's right there. It's right there that you've created the problem, actually. I
Yeah.
mean, even if you get that money back, something's going to go wrong because you gave into that thing. So
Yes,
that's really
yes.
good.
Yes. So the third trap here, let's talk about that. So the third scarcity mindset trap is around your self worth. And so you devalue your worth to the world. So you give your time, your knowledge, and skills away for free or for a bargain price because you don't see the true value in your own spiritual gifts, your
Mm,
your business gifts, whatever those gifts are. And so when you don't charge your worth and you know that you should be making more money, how does that really make you feel? It doesn't
very
make you
good.
feel good, does
No,
it?
no, that's like an extension of number two.
Hmm.
That's number two, like on steroids now. I
Yes.
think, or taking it into your business life or whatever. And so it doesn't allow that free flow and exchange and the balance really that's allowed. I know when I was first started life coaching, I saw the impact on other people when I didn't charge them for the
Mm,
service, and
yeah.
I thought, wow, I'm hurting them because
Yeah.
they don't value it. And then
Mm,
that's my problem, that I'm allowing them not to value it. So now we're both having a problem.
yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, you're really not doing anyone any favors.
Yes. Okay.
Very good.
Awesome. So let's move on to number,
Four?
let's see, are we on number three here? Is that number three?
I think we just did
Three. Yep.
three.
So we're number four. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So number four, the scarcity mindset trap. Number four is a lack of money system. So you don't track your spending. You're not paying your bills. Your credit is, wobbly, or you're not saving money. And so there's a quote, there's a principle in business that says what doesn't get measured doesn't get managed. And
Mm.
so, if there's more month than there is money, then you end up robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're not creating more income. You're in this cycle of feast or famine. So one of those scarcity traps is having a lack of money systems in place to see where everything is going, where you growing your money, where it's just coming out and you don't know it. So what you need really is money management systems to give you more control of what you spend, what you save or invest, and how you pay off debt, how you pay yourself, how you grow your business, or what have you. That is definitely important. Money
It's
management.
totally important and something that I think we would do well to have a part of our education system, um, taught in a healthy way, or really kind of taught at all. I mean, it's really left out at this point, but
Yeah.
until it becomes there, passing that on generationally is huge, and it
Okay.
really, I think, has affected, our community as Black women for sure. Something that really we want to see grow in our community, that we have a system. So
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful. Keep going. We're
Yes.
getting to the nitty gritty now. It's like,
Yes. Let's
man.
see. So number 5 here. Let's see. So scarcity mind trap number 5 is having a low set point for money. And so you have an invisible money ceiling that is set for what you can earn,
Oh.
make, and keep subconsciously. Like you've capped yourself off. And
Mm.
so that means when you begin to make more money, you find a way to sabotage yourself or get rid of it or spend it until you drop back down to a level where you're comfortable with money. So this is a money set point. You subconsciously go back to your comfort zone for what you make and what you keep. So if you know someone that, so the question is, do you know somebody that as soon as they get money in their hand, it seems like they're always getting rid of it, or they're broke, or they're breaking
Mm.
even every month? It's because of that set point that they have not imagined themselves expanded beyond the level where they are. And so that's a telltale symptom that their set point is low and that they're stuck in some type of scarcity trap, some type of
Mm.
I can't go beyond this. So it's always going to be this. And
That
so
sounds
that
like it might be related to the past, some type of old money story that said that
yes,
somewhere. Hmm.
yes. Or
Wow, that's interesting.
the worthiness piece.
Mm.
Worthiness is totally a business strategy. It is a professional strategy. It's something that should be worked on is do I feel worthy enough for this? Like if I
That's
have to ask
good.
myself, do I feel worthy enough to have a career where I make, 200,000 a year, or have a business where I'm making 300,000 a year? And if it feels shaky and unsure, it can be a little fear because it's unknown, but like can it be fear of like, oh my goodness, this is really possible,
Hmm.
and be okay with expanding into that, and not be okay and not be afraid like I'm not worthy of that. So it's a fine line that I've noticed within myself where I'm like, ooh, that feels scary, exciting, or ooh, I don't feel worthy of that amount. So
Wow.
yes.
That's powerful. That's awesome. I'm loving this. These are some few new ones you're getting into here for me. I love
Yes.
this. Keep going. Keep
All
going.
righty. And so we're on to the next one. This is scarcity mindset trap number 6. Your feelings towards money are off. And you might hear frequency, your vibration, but your feelings towards money is off. So you're projecting fear and lack and not enoughness, or resentment or anger, anxiety, and all of these emotions around money situations is drawing more of those things to you. And you don't know how to get out of that money loop, that scarcity trap loop. And so if you've ever found yourself saying things like, money isn't everything, or you can't take it with you when you go, or, oh no, I can't do that. I'm broke. I'm broke. Or, got to spend this money, instead of saying I'm circulating this money, or rich
Yes.
people are evil. It's like, what are your feelings towards money? And
Yeah.
I have this 5-day challenge that I did earlier this year. It's called Calling in the Cash. It was a money manifestation challenge, and rewrote a letter to money. We treated money as if it was a relationship. So what is your relationship status with money? Is it
Wow.
single? Is it complicated? Is it married? Is it divorced? Right? Um,
Wow.
and we wanted to fix that relationship where we looked at money as a friend. And so I had a worksheet, this money worksheet, and it's like, dear money, I'm sorry for talking bad about you. I'm sorry for not managing you. I'm
Wow.
sorry for any area. I'm sorry for the debt that I've created. I'm so, like, whatever the money stuff is, we wrote an apology letter, and then we turned it into a love letter. I'm thankful because if you look around your house right now or wherever you are watching or listening to this, there are things around you that cost money. Money is a friend, an ally. It loves you, it
Yes.
seeks you out, and it's always there to fully support you. And so that's the way to look at money, is to heal those feelings about money and look at money as a best friend.
Wow, man, this is so rich. There's that word, but Jerica,
Yes.
wow, I just have to say thank you already. This is very, very powerful. It's reminding me of the first apartment I had after my divorce, and I started paying attention to, the feelings I had toward my bank account and different things that would happen. And I realized I had to get free.
Mm,
I could not let whatever certain numbers were showing me dictate my feelings, my day, because again, I'm it's not just what I'm feeling now, it's going into my future. And I
mm,
wanted to see if I could get free of that and if I could
mm.
be independent of that and still feel worthy and still be able to be creative and still be able to create.
Yes.
And that was one of the most powerful experiences, journey. It wasn't just an experience, it was a journey,
Yeah.
but it was one of the most powerful journeys of my life. And I was able to get free of waking up and checking my bank account balance. That's like
Mm,
a terrible way to wake up, by the way. I mean, I don't want to like judge someone else if you're doing it, but just notice how that makes you feel.
yeah.
And yeah, that was a big one for me, and it just totally changed my relationship with money.
Yes.
But I love bringing loving words into the relationship and
Yes.
really thinking of it in these very whole, beautiful ways. That's just wow. That's so
Yes.
good. This
Yes.
is
And
so good.
I did this practice, and I remember I was outside one day and I was like, "Oh, I didn't write the letter, but I had a conversation with money, and I was like, "You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for that." Da,
Mm,
da, da, da. And I'm talking to money. So, you have to begin to treat money like it's a telepathic entity, consciousness, that has intellect, that has ears, that has feelings, that has emotions, that can pick up on everything that you say, you think, you feel about it, as if you're a real person. And so when I began to understand that everything has a consciousness, I said,
yeah.
well, I never talked to money before, so money, I'm sorry, and I did this thing, and I said, let's start fresh. And I said, what, I'm thankful for you. I accept you. I accept as much as you want to give to me and flow into me, flow into my life. I look for you. I want you. I cherish you. I'll manage you. And like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm flowing and saying how much I love money, and I'm like, yes, come to me, money. And
Yes.
what happened that week? I think my fiance got like this unexpected check in the mail, for a couple of $100 from like an old apartment. There was just like, you could see the signs that money was like, I got you, girl. I got
Girl.
you. So
Like
I
I
encourage
like
you to do this.
I heard you. I heard you and I received this new part to our relationship.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It was beautiful. So I encourage you all to try that. It's so
That's
fun.
awesome. We on number 7?
Yes. So we
Here
are
we
on number
go.
7 here. So the scarcity mindset trap number 7 is having a lack of income streams, multiple income streams. So if you don't
Mhm.
have multiple streams of income, then that means your money isn't working for you. You're having to work for it if you're trading dollars for hours. So it's always a good idea to diversify. Like I'm into crypto trading. I have some stocks. I have, money that I'm saving because I want to invest in getting a churro car and renting out the car. We want to, my partner and I want to get into real estate. So just finding a way to diversify and having multiple streams where everything is not in one basket. Because if,
Hmm.
obviously you take that basket away, or the job, you walk into the job tomorrow and they didn't cleared out the whole building and you ain't got no desk no more. Like, you have a plan B, you know what I mean?
Right.
So all your eggs in one basket, is not the best way to be. If that's where you are, that's fine, but look at ways that you can begin to diversify your income, for sure.
Wow. Wow. This is just practical and spiritual today.
Yes.
Really,
Yes.
really good. But I think it starts from the breath, it moves to gratitude, and then to respect. Having a beautiful, respectful, loving relationship with money,
Yeah.
and then you'll be willing to take these practical steps. I think that money, opens up to you the wisdom of how to manage it, how to increase it when you're open,
Yes.
not telling yourself stories or
Mm.
having these bad relational thoughts,
Yes.
right? So you're not countering all the wisdom that will come and how to increase. Wow.
Yes, yes, and treat it as if it has thoughts, feelings, emotions, a consciousness. It can hear you, can feel you, and I notice the change whenever I start saying, you know what, money. All right, this month I can't wait to have more of you. I can't wait to save more of you. I can't wait to spend more of you. I can't wait to give more of you away. Like, as this becomes a part of me, I just noted like this has been a very abundant year for me. And so I just noticed that when I do start falling into like, oh my gosh, I need this, I need that, I always go back to the breath. I go back to gratitude. I go back to being thankful for money, for what I do have in the present moment. And yeah, that is, these are the scarcity mindset traps, and then, breaking free from those, what you need to do. So I trust that this has blessed whoever has heard it. And I would love to hear your takeaways. If you want to hit me up or post some comments below this video.
Absolutely, absolutely. Jerica loves the feedback. I know she's getting bloody from me now because I am like pa 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 pow. But we know that this is blessing you, and I just cannot thank you enough. This is really been, like I said, very rich, and I believe is going to go out, and I'm going to be praying for this, that as this is airing today, it is hitting all the ears it needs to, because
Yes.
this is our gift to you. Like, we want to be a blessing into your holiday season and have
Yes.
it mean something different to you than it ever has. um, I just want to spend a minute, if we can, because the scripture about, the love of money came to
Mm,
me, and so I'm like thinking about this. So one of the things I know, I have a couple of thoughts, is um, the actual, like, original definition of it is actually saying the love of money, because some people think it says money is the root of all evil. That it's not, even that's not a thing. Like, that's not what it's saying, and no one translates it that way. But that is just how it people talk. That's not what it says. Okay, so it's not money is the root of all evil, just so you know. So
okay.
anyway, but it says a love of money, and then what it's really, the original is the roots of all kinds of evil.
Mm,
And I don't think that you can necessarily dispute that. People that prioritize money over things that really are more important than money.
yes.
If money is more important than your breath, if money is more important than your family, if money is more important than your health,
Mm,
oh, you're going to get yourself in major trouble. I mean, that is indisputable,
yeah. There's not
right?
balance there. Yeah.
There's no balance. So it can be the root of all kinds of evil. But I also thought about the fact that if God created everything, He created these means of exchange.
Mm,
It could
Yes.
all happen a different way. Maybe you would just, grow everything you need just in your own house, and you wouldn't need to exchange with others. But he wanted us to share and exchange and have these various things. And
Yes.
so to just to have a negative relationship with that, I think does reflect on our
Mm.
relationship with God and how we feel about how he created things to be. So I felt like I could hear an objection. And so I
Yeah.
wanted to see if we could maybe talk about that for a minute and help people to overcome that, because this is like really will create such a balance and such a beauty and such a flow in your life. So I don't want this to come in.
Yeah. So talking about the money being the root of all evil, that is a belief. So let's drop that belief. It's not that you're saying it's not the root of all evil. It's the root in what is the scripture again? Can you read it?
It's the root. It doesn't say it in there, but if you look at the original meaning, it's the root of all kinds of evil.
Mm, okay.
And I think that's pretty indisputable. If you get out of balance, like you said,
Yeah.
put it above your family, workaholics, it causes a mess.
Yes, yes. And I think you said it beautifully. There's nothing more
Okay.
to say than, in all areas of our life, it's is having a balance in everything. So including money and how much you chase it and worship it and hustle for it and making sure that all the other areas are in alignment and in balance as well.
Yeah. Yes. You know what? That is what I really love about this teaching today. We do spend the majority of our day gaining income, right? And
Mm,
for us to have weird thoughts about it, like I want it, but not too much, but not,
yeah,
that's what we're kind of really saying. I mean, until you make it like a person, kind of personalize it like you
yeah,
did, because that's one thing that I think helps me in my relationship with God, really seeing God as a person with
mm,
feelings. Like, and
yeah,
when I get ungrateful, I'm like, oh, what am I saying to God? I think
yeah,
like that, and that's
yeah,
helpful.
yeah,
So, but you could think like that. Like, what are you saying to money? And a lot of people, what they say is like, yeah, I spend most of my day chasing you, but I kind of don't want you, but you're kind of evil. I don't want too much. I mean, it's like
yeah,
really mixed messages and a lot of weirdness we have.
yeah,
Christian spiritual people have a lot of like we have a lot of weirdness going on. So yeah,
yes,
I think going these seven things, really you can go over them again with
yes,
this in mind, really thinking about that, and really just get free.
yeah,
Get freedom in your relationship with money, and
yes,
being able to say, I love you, money. So that means you've really gotten rid of the wrong thoughts about the toxic thoughts about that.
yes.
Be able to say, oh, that's high five, girl. We did it
Yeah.
today. I mean,
Woo!
whoa, this was
Yes.
powerful. But God, because God wants those that are loving to have the money.
Yes.
It will change the world. If
Yes.
people that know about love and care about people, all that, have more,
Yes.
it changes the world. So I think it's really
Absolutely.
important, and why there's been such an attack on it,
Mm,
because, you know, there's a reward there. So,
absolutely.
Jerica, thank you. Thank you. This has
Yes.
been so rich. You see,
Thank
you still got my
you.
mind popping off, and I'm excited to get this all into you. And look
Yes.
forward to seeing you next month, Jerica. Have a beautiful
Yes.
month. Thank you
Thank
for being with
you.
us once
Thank you for
again.
having me. Thank you.
Wow. We'll see you guys next week.